Alrighty, hey everybody. For this video, we are going to discuss all things accommodations. So we're going to run through the accommodations that Wayground offers. We're also going to talk about a little bit about how easy it is to implement and some of the benefits to it. So let's dive in here real quick. If you just want to check out the accommodations we have, just log in, go to your accommodations tab here, and you'll see here you have a couple different ways. If you are bringing in your class rosters from Google Classroom or Canvas or one of the other LMSs that we align with, you can do that very easily, and you'll see they'll pop up here. For the sake of this video, though, we're just going to go ahead and go to this one because there I am. And we'll click on me here. So here is all the accommodations, right, that we can go through. We'll talk a little bit about them and dive into how you could use them potentially. So first off, we have our basic accommodations. These are the ones that are going to be found in any tier that you have with Wayground, whether it's the free plan, teacher plan, school and district plan. These three are going to be available to you no matter what. So you can turn on read aloud, and if your students have those headphones available, or if you're going to bring them into a small group, you can toggle that on, and now the assessment and the lesson can be read to them. So if they are doing it later when you're not presenting the lesson, you can still have the audio read to them. And if you're doing an assessment, again, same thing. If it's on their IEP, their 504, you're covered, you're good to go. Extra time for questions, again, fairly similar in terms of just a basic accommodation. We can toggle this on and give students something like multiple seconds. We can even break it down by minutes as well if it's a more in-depth or higher level question. And then also we can toggle on student attempts, right? Sometimes students just need that additional practice and try it a second time. And that is something that we can do there as well. Now, this is where you're going to get into the accommodations that fall under our school and district plan. So we have question settings. Oftentimes on IEPs, you will see a reduction of answer choices. That is something we can do. You just toggle this on, and then any assessment going forward has that ready to go. It's locked in. We have a redemption question. So what that means is after the assessment is over, any of the questions that a student got wrong, they get to pick a couple at random. And then literally, as the accommodation is, it's their redemption. They get a chance to re-answer that based on what they've learned getting it wrong, right? And then our newest one is our hints feature. This is something that, some students might just need a little extra boost of guidance in terms of how to answer that question. So it does not matter regardless of subject matter, grade level, standards alignment. The AI will generate a hint. And as you can see on the screen here, it will give them a little bit of guidance in terms of how to answer that question. Map tools. What's really unique about this is a lot of the districts we work with is we see that sometimes teachers turn this on for everybody, regardless of if it's in an IEP or a 504, is this these Desmos calculators, whether it's a scientific calculator or a graphing calculator, toggle that on. Students can access it for math or if it's the scientific portion. What's great about this is we've seen that a lot of states utilize online testing for their high stakes testing, right? And there are oftentimes tools on there that are difficult for students to use. They might not be familiar with it, but turning these on can help get students acclimated to it because it's something they may see on their standardized high stakes state testing as well. All right, some of these are really incredible down here for reading support. So our dyslexic fonts, you'll notice when you turn this on, you're going to see the fonts, the font type changes, the font size changes, the spacing changes, and then it also makes the letters more wide at the bottom to kind of help differentiate that as well. So that can be turned on. We also have this translate feature, which is really great about this is you can translate. Whoop. Let me try this again here. We have about 80 different languages in here you can translate to, and we are always open to more. The team does a great job at adding more. I can think of that in particular with our Creole that was recently added last fall. So if you have an assessment that needs to be translated, great. If you have a lesson you are teaching in class or a presentation, you can turn this on so your EL students are going to get the exact content you are teaching, but in the language they speak natively. So there is no more having to worry about, oh my gosh, I can't find content. We've got you covered. We can do this very easily with just toggling this on. We also can adjust font size and font spacing. We also have our bilingual dictionary, which is really powerful for your students who are maybe trying to graduate out of an EL program, right? Maybe they've done access testing, they're on their way out, but there might be some terminology or some vocab that can still give them some struggles. We can turn this on so that there will be certain keywords they can look to see how they would be translated to their native language. So again, really powerful, really engaging, really supportive, and really helpful. And then some other things we have here for our lessons only as a reading mode. This allows students to kind of manipulate how their screen looks in terms of font sizing, adjusting Are the images bigger? Is the text bigger? Things like that. And then also notes to refer. So the way this works is, as the teacher, if I'm doing my presentation and I'm writing annotations on these slides as we're going through them, notes to refer allows those annotations to stay locked on. And so if I ask a question, students can refer back to that now, right? And then lastly, we've got a few other things. We've got our sound effects can turn off. Your leaderboard can be turned off. If you don't want it to be gamified, both the lesson or the assessment, maybe you have students who really struggle with not being at the top of a leaderboard, right? Maybe that's a trigger for some of those negative behaviors that start to arise. You turn it off for that particular student. No one's the wiser. Everything's ready to go. And then our newest one is our enhanced display. So now we have light and dark modes. Some of the animations can be removed. It can be made a little bit more simpler for students that maybe struggle if there's a lot of different attention-seeking things on the computer screen all at once. This can be kind of reduced. We can also change the color overlays as well. So again, that is all there for any assessment you build out, any lesson you build out, all those things can be turned on. And the other great thing is, once you set it once, it's locked in and it will go forward for any future assessment and lesson that you push out. You do not need to worry about being out of compliance or making sure an accommodation was met and you can't remember if it was. All that is taken care of with a few clicks. You can also assign multiple accommodations to multiple students at once to make life a little bit easier. But again, you set it once, you're ready to go. It really can't be any more simpler than that. So I hope this was beneficial. You can see what we can offer. And if you have any questions, again, like always, please don't hesitate to reach out. Thanks, everybody.